The Orange Army at Zandvoort witnessed absolute chaos as Oscar Piastri extended his championship lead while Lando Norris watched his title hopes go up in smoke just 6 laps from the end of the race. When the lights went out at Circuit Zandvoort, nobody expected what was about to unfold. Oscar Piastri held his pole position, but the real drama happened right behind him. Max Verstappen, starting on those soft tires, pulled off an absolute masterclass move on Lando Norris, jumping him for second place through the opening corners. The home crowd went absolutely wild as their hero showed he still had that killer instinct. But Norris wasn't having any of it. On lap 9, the British driver delivered one of the moves of the season, going around the outside of Verstappen at turn 1 to reclaim second place. It was pure racing poetry, and suddenly we had McLaren running 1-2 with Piastri controlling the pace from the front. For the first half of the race, this looked like McLaren's perfect day. Piastri was managing his lead beautifully, keeping Norris at arm's length while Verstappen was stuck in no man's land behind them. The championship fight between the McLaren teammates was playing out exactly as expected, both drivers pushing hard but respecting each other's space. Verstappen, despite being the hometown hero, knew his Red Bull just didn't have the pace to challenge the McLarens. He admitted before the race that he couldn't compete with their speed, and boy was he right. The gap kept growing as McLaren dominated the field. But while McLaren was cruising, Ferrari was having an absolute nightmare. Lewis Hamilton became the first casualty when light rain started falling on lap 23. The 7-time world champion lost the rear of his Ferrari on the banked turn 3 and slammed straight into the barriers. He immediately apologized to his team over the radio, knowing he'd thrown away a decent points finish. That crash brought out the first safety car, and that's when things got really spicy. Teams started diving into the pits, and McLaren double stacked both their cars perfectly, keeping Piastri and Norris in first and second. McLaren dominated early with both drivers, showing why they're fighting for the championship. Piastri was ice cold at the front, while Norris was the hunter, always keeping the pressure on. Red Bull had a mixed day. Verstappen salvaged second place thanks to Norris' retirement, while Yuki Tsunoda finally got back in the points with ninth. Verstappen's race strategy on different tire compounds showed his experience. Racing Bulls had their breakthrough moment with Isaac Hadjar claiming his maiden podium in third. The 20-year-old French-Algerian driver had been building up to this moment all season, and he delivered when it mattered the most. His teammate Liam Lawson had contact with Carlos Sainz and finished 12th. Mercedes struggled with George Russell finishing 4th despite floor damage from contact with Leclerc. Kimi Antonelli had a disaster race, crashing into Leclerc and picking up penalties that dropped him to 16th. Ferrari suffered a complete meltdown, with both cars retiring. After Hamilton's early crash, Charles Leclerc was running well until Antonelli understeered into him at turn 3, sending the Ferrari spinning into retirement. Williams saw Alex Albon finish 5th, showing great pace, while Carlos Sainz got a 10-second penalty for his clash with Liam Lawson and ended up 13th. Haas had a great day. Oliver Behrman started from the pit lane due to engine penalties but recovered brilliantly to finish 6th, his best F1 result ever. Esteban Ocon rounded out the points finish in 10th. Aston Martin had both cars in the points, with Lance Stroll finishing 7th and Fernando Alonso in 8th. Alpine struggled with both Franco Colapinto and Pierre Gasly finishing outside the points in 11th and 17th respectively. Sauber saw Nico Hülkenberg finish 14th and Gabriel Bortoleto in 15th. With just 6 laps to go, disaster struck McLaren in the cruelest way possible. Lando Norris, who had been chasing Piastri for the entire race, suddenly reported smoke in his cockpit. Within seconds, his McLaren suffered what looked like an engine failure, and his championship dreams evaporated as he coasted to a stop. The irony was brutal. Norris had driven the perfect race, recovered from his poor start, and was set for second place that would have kept him right in the title fight. Instead, he watched from the sidelines as Piastri extended his championship lead to massive 34 points. That final safety car gave us one last thriller. Piastri had to restart with worn hard tires, while Verstappen behind him had fresh softs. the grippiest compound available, but the championship leader showed exactly why he's leading this title race. His restart was flawless, and despite Verstappen's tire advantage, Piastri controlled the race to the checkered flag. Isaac Hadjar first F1 podium was the feel-good story of the day. The Racing Bulls rookie has been quietly impressive all season and finally got his reward with third place. At just 20 years old, he's proven he belongs at this level. Verstappen's second place was damage limitation for Red Bull. He knew before the race that his car couldn't match McLaren's pace, but he maximized every opportunity. The Dutch fans still had something to cheer about as their hero stood on the podium at his home race. This result completely changed the championship picture. Piastri now leads by 34 points with 9 races remaining, a huge advantage that puts him firmly in the driver's seat. Norris went from being 9 points behind to 34, and that's a mountain to climb with only 9 races left. What made it even worse for Norris was that this wasn't driver error, it was pure mechanical failure when he least needed it. In a championship fight this tight, reliability is everything, and McLaren's engine let him down at the worst possible moment. The Dutch Grand Prix proved that in Formula 1 nothing is guaranteed until you cross that finish line. Piastri's win puts him level with his manager Mark Webber for career victories, and more importantly, it might just be the victory that wins him the first World Championship. With races at Monza, Azerbaijan and Singapore coming up, Norris needs to start winning immediately if he wants to keep his title hopes alive. The pressure is now entirely on his shoulders, while Piastri can afford to play it smart and consistent. This was supposed to be McLaren's perfect day with 1-2 finish. Instead, it became the day that might have decided the 2025 championship, and Piastri is the one celebrating tonight. Thank you for watching. Please comment, like and subscribe.